What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. Now, this was pre-Joshua KO, but he states that he would like to fight Ortiz. He knows he has a fight upcoming, signed, sealed, and delivered with Luis King Kong Ortiz. After that, Fury, he predicts that he will fight Fury earlier in the year, sometime early. And then he says possibly a Joshua fight in mid or late 2020, and he wants to do it in that order. He states that his career hasn't been built on shortcuts. He says that everything he had to work for, he has not received any gifts. That's what he states. He says he's going to fight a killer on top of another killer on top of possibly another killer. He said if Joshua doesn't have obligations, he said the obligations kind of, like they're bullshit or whatnot. But if he said that Joshua didn't have any obligations, he would like to take on Joshua, and he's about legacy now. So he says he's old school. He says he's after legacy. He said that he promises to knock Tyson Fury out this time for real, or in a better fashion than he did last time. So this is my counterpunch on this. He loses because this was a day ago, so this was probably yesterday, because it's 3 in the morning now where I'm at. I'm in Central Time. But it's unfortunate now that fight with Joshua would have to be delayed unless Joshua can avenge his loss by the end of this year and go back to, or get right back on track of wanting to fight the guys that he wants to fight. Anyway, the fight still loses steam, for a bit, unless the fight now has to take time to build, like Manny Pacquiao and Floyd. Manny had to go beat Algieri, which was undefeated, then go in there and fight Timothy Bradley once again, and avenge that loss. Then I forget who he fought the second go around, but then came because I know it was Brandon Rios, then Chris Algieri, then Timothy Bradley, then I believe then was Floyd Mayweather. But then that fight had to rebuild itself because Manny had to, rebuild. He had to, go back to the drawing board. So Joshua is going to have to avenge this loss if he wants a Deontay Wilder fight. Now, of course, we know that things have changed tremendously, right? Because the money's still there, but how much of the money is still available? Because now it's not for unification. Now it's not for undisputed, unless he gets the belts back, mind you. But this does sound good for Deontay Wilder saying these type of things. And he is right. His career has not been about shortcuts. Because obviously if it took him this long to get where he's at, no, it is not about shortcuts at all. Okay? So hopefully we do get those fights. And this is, like Anthony Joshua says, a temporary setback, minor setback. And we'll see if those fights will ever happen. Also, I want to mind you, Deontay Wilder did say this. He said he doesn't care about an O. He said that once again. So he might be making a cushion for maybe if he ever loses, right? A possible loss on his career. He already said it. Well, hey, I'm not even about losses, right? I don't even care about an O. So that is somewhat relieving to know that he's not following the Al Heyman quote-unquote Mayweather blueprint that Al Heyman pretty much molded Floyd on, and everybody else has been trying to follow that shit ever since. So that's relieving for him to say it, but it's another thing to really believe it. You know what I mean? because honestly, fighters change after they make their first loss. They change or they become revealed. Okay, when you get your first loss, you know who you are. See, we never knew what it was like for Floyd to actually officially lose. You know what I mean? We never know what the hell could have happened with him. You know, I think of Michael Grant. Michael Grant was a 6'8", hard-hitting guy, right? And he went in there with Lennox Lewis and got destroyed in one round. He was never the same after that. You know what I mean? So we don't really know if that happens and what a fighter's truly made out of until they take a loss. And it would be humbling if Deontay Wilder did. So everything that he's saying, he could actually live. You know what I mean? And be held accountable for what he says to see if it lines up with what he's been saying about what he cares about and what's really important in his career. So, but again, it does sound like great news for Deontay Wilder to say, hey, I want all the quote-unquote killers back to back to back. You know? And let me let you in on something. If he's able to do everything he said that he has or can do by knocking out Luis Ortiz, completely knocking out Tyson Fury, and fighting Joshua and knocking him out, his resume would have increased in the last 2 years 10 times better than his last 10 years as a whole. He's made up for everything that he has done in the last 10 years, and it actually led up to that moment. So well done, Al Heyman, right? For aiding this guy inch by inch by inch by inch by inch. So we just have to see. Anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Deontay Wilder's latest interview. Of course, I will leave the link below. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys can Counterpunch. Peace.